Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stiggity Stacks in this thing, baby, representing TKOG, and today I'm showcasing you guys pretty much my favorite deck this format. This deck is freaking crazy, bro! Like, I love this deck so much. It's so insane. Like, honestly, piloting this deck does get pretty intense, but it's so rewarding and so gratifying. It is a culmination of so many of the best cards in the format right now, and it makes just ridiculous inboards. It has pretty much... It has an out to like everything that's a problem for me right now in the format, and it's one of the safest picks because it's so resilient, it's so strong against all across the playing field. Like, its inboard is just crazy. Look at that, bro. I'm just swatting crap, man. Like, just all across the playing field, like, its inboard's just like good enough to beat every deck in the room. But at the same time, like, the other thing that's insane is like how efficient this deck is with putting up diverse inboards. So, like, no matter what matchup, like, you can always deviate just a little bit from your initial trajectory. And, like, the start of the combo is kind of the same, but you can always go a different direction depending on the matchup. You can just go flat out all negates. Like, you can literally set up, like, 3-4, just flat out 3-4 Omni negates. You can have spot removal. You have a combination of both. You have interactions that come from the grave, from the hand, from your field. You have, like, layered disruptions that just cannot be completely shut off by Super Poly Dark Ruler Droplets, Kaijus, Lava Golems, you name it. These boards being played through is just nigh impossible, but then also at the same time, like, preventing the boards from being made is also, like, very, very difficult because, like I said, the deck's just so resilient. It's, like, able to play under Shifter, it's able to play under Droll. It's so good against low impact. The only high impacts that matter are Shifter, Droll, and, like, this, like, Dragon decks in general, like, are infamous for being able to counter Nib through a myriad of different ways. And there's also ways that your engine, like your main deck specific cards, like your archetype specific cards, are able to beat cards like Droll specifically and Nib. Like, the only cards that you really can't do anything about would be like Shifter in draw phase or Lancea in draw phase. So, like, this deck doesn't really care about like Lancea in draw phase. And so I haven't really like lost 2 hand traps unless I had a weak hand. When I had a strong hand, not a single time have I lost flat out hand traps only. And my boards, the way board breakers interact with my board specifically makes it like you have to have like 2 to 3 board breakers plus engine to break the board. But, like, also, like, if you don't ulti me, it doesn't matter because, like, this deck's follow-up is so powerful that the follow-up is nearly just as scary, if not scarier, than the end board. Because, like, sometimes my board on turn 3 is crazier than my turn 1 board. Because, like, the resources that I garnered from my turn 1 board made it all possible. And so this deck can go infinite. It gets a surplus of resources. It's able to efficiently navigate through some of the most powerful inboards right now in Yu-Gi-Oh! Today. And I'm very, very proud to say that this Frankenstein monster of 60 cards, I can call it my home this format, and it's so, so good. It's so fun. It's so powerful. It breaks boards with just pure engine. It's all gas, baby. It's insane. Oh my goodness. If you like this kind of content, definitely leave a like. If you liked the video, leave a dislike if you didn't. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're here to stay. And also check the link in the description box if you want to support my channel even further. I always set up my deck profiles with starters, extenders, and then like going second cards and the engine requirements. It's like I don't know, an OCD thing, whatever. But yeah, this deck's just been really, really crazy, this format. I've been having a blast. Oh my goodness, like, yeah, my win ratio with this deck is ridiculous. I love this deck. I think the last time I did it, didn't get first place it was actually Sneak Peek. I actually took this deck Sneak Peek, and I had, I brought like a 49 card deck, because like I left a bunch of stuff, and I was kind of upset, and then I tried to like double sleeve my deck, and it was just, yeah, I was going through like some stuff that day, like with my deck, trying to like rush and pick up common versions of the cards that I didn't have. And then, like, I wanted to double sleeve it, and then, like, I couldn't sleeve it in time, so I had to, like, unsleeve it. But, like, my opponent was being patient, and, like, I ended up, like, spending, like, time of the actual round, so I had to give it up, which was unfortunate, and, like, give it to him because, it, like, we went to time, and I was like, if we go to time because of me, like, sleeving my deck, then you got it. So I didn't get first place that day, and I, like, I kind of felt sad, yeah, because I really, really wanted to win the entire thing, and just, the deck's crazy. I don't even have SP Little Knight, and this deck's just so crazy. Like, so yeah, so many things are going to change. So many things can still be improved. And just as, like, the format progresses more and diversifies, there's a lot of tools that the Dragonmaid deck has up its sleeve, and its arsenal is very, very expansive. And so, like, there's certain cards that you can just incorporate here and there whenever the situation calls for it. But your main deck pretty much is like a side deck. Like, you can counter, like, every flood game in the game. Like, you can beat skill drain. Like, you can beat all the hand traps, you can break multi-negation boards, and like the Bystial cards just give you a whole another layer of like disruption and give you more powerful like tier limit matchups, like the mirror match, like Unchained. It's really good. Like, let's go. I'm sorry that I'm rambling. Let's start like one of the most cracked cards in the deck, like in the game right now. Like, Lubellion's one of the best cards in the game, if you ask me. Cards are ridiculously absurd. I always look at this card as a going second card, and like it's whenever a card requires your opponent's attention, I just look at it like this is a going second card. And like some of the decks, like some of the cards that any dragon strategy can incorporate, are so just naturally so powerful that like your opponent can't let them resolve. And because of that, they kind of inherently turn into going second cards. And Lubellion is nothing short of that. Like, he's a starter, he's an extender, he is follow-up, he also allows you to contend with a myriad of different problematic cards. I think like one of my favorite interactions with him, like Unchained, was always going for the Griffin board. It was just like flat out going Lubellion into Druisworm, and then like just like sacking off the Druisworm. But after I banished Yama, I would just like banish Yama, sack off the Druisworm for Lubellion, and like already clear the Untold Chain of Rage, which is just ridiculous, and force them to flip the trap. And like if they don't flip the trap, then like they lose their Soul Rage. But if they do, like they lose their trap. So like it always takes the follow up and the interaction off of Yama. It also directly deals with like Rage, and it helps you to like literally out the Griffin lock as well. So like if you don't have a hand that can play out with Griffin, then you literally just go Druisworm, Sing Griffin. And like I think more of them are opting for like it's 50-50, but I've seen like lately a lot of people have been opting for the Caesar board. So he hasn't been as fabulous as he was in the past, but like the fact that he's a one card, like a 1-for-3 technically, like it's crazy. Like this card just deals with so many things. It's really, really broke. I've had some crazy comebacks with Lubellion. Beast and Regain are just ridiculously sick, and having those layered disruptions, no matter what your opponent does to like your negations, is just crazy. I'm now on 3 safer. I opted for my traditional variant, like of Dragonmaids, was always to basically play past the normal summon with every hand, and like with the way I built this deck, I can play even more extenders, but I chose like a little bit more going second cards. Like, it doesn't really matter what normal summon you start with, because like typically your other normal summons in your hands get discarded or summoned from your hand. So like I really, really enjoyed bumping Safer up to 3 instead of 1, because mainly he was there like as a 1-up just for the interactions to add back Levy and Lubellion off of Dragon Ravine. And even just summoning it off of Seal so I can play through Nib even better and like set up another Seal, like just banish the Seal, put it back with Regain, and then make a Seal again. But as a starter, he's just like insane. Like if you have any level 4 to pitch, instead of like having to banish him, like if you search a baby dragon and don't have to banish him to start your line, it gets crazy because like he is like a pseudo 1.5 card combo, because like you can literally set up your rocket engine through the ravine and like use him to add back. And it's just crazy, dude. Like you literally get like a 1 card Boral In and Boral Savage, like 1.5 card. Cards are just ridiculous. Like there's so many crucial interactions. I've literally like safered for 2 level 4s just to go straight into Lubellion, or I go safer, pitch Lubellion for Levy in here and just add back the other. It's just, yeah, card's crazy. It's always like a +2. It's always gonna like have to get negated or resolved, and you just kind of win. Chaos Space, card's broken. Super duper crazy card. We have 3 copies of Black Metal 1 for 1. I just always want to play past my normal summon. Now, the problem with all of these normal summons that like this specific card does not have is like these normal summons all can play into Droll, but Parlor exclusively is the most unique normal summon in my deck because it's the only 1 card starter that does not play into Droll. In fact, it is the only 1 card starter that actually beats Droll. You can just dump Changeover from your deck to your grave and fuse into your Omni Negation on your second summon, so it not only beats Droll, but it also can beat Nib. And if your opponent has Droll Nib, you're always going to negate Droll and just keep playing through Nib anyways because of Seal and your other negations regardless. So Parlor is single-handedly like the most unique normal summon. She's not the most powerful in the terms of like how much value you get out of her, because she's just 1 card, 2 body. 2 bodies, kind of like how Black Metal is, but like Black Metal into Random D can summon more diverse cards. But like if you're going second, like Parlor is literally a 1 card Boral End or a 1 card Access Code by herself. Anything that puts 2 dragons on field with this deck is literally like a 1 card Access Code or 1 card Boral End. Like just off of that, it's pretty insane. It's pretty insane. So I like her. She's really strong. And just being able to set up Shao on your second summon without searching it, I think is one of the most broken ways you can start your combo. She's super, super powerful, super resilient. She's one of the strengths that you get out of playing the Dragonmaid cards that you would not get without them. I understand, like, I play a lot more generic Dragon cards now than I used to play way more Dragonmaid cards, but I feel like integrating both gave me strengths that my deck naturally didn't have, while also circumventing for weaknesses that it clearly did have. Like, it was just clear as day. There are certain things Dragonmaids just were not going to be able to do without incorporating some of these engines. And then we also play 3 copies of Chamber. Chamber is really, really safe. Tiding is insane this format. Like, I'm just going to say it right now. Tiding's broke. People don't read these Dragonmaid cards. They really don't negate them. Game 1, these are the safest normal summons ever. Black Metal and Safer are not safe because people know what they do. They get negated. They get hand trapped. These cards, like, sometimes either force a hand trap and it's easier to play because, like, I always open gas, or they don't get negated because they don't feel like they're a threat. And one of the issues, like, it did happen when I was playing against Tier just recently when I did go to the sneak peek. This got ashed. I still was able to make a Shao, and then he super polyed my Shao and his Mud Dragon to go into Draco Stapelia, and I literally just went World Legacy Guard Dragon back into Chamber at the start of battle phase, summon Shao, and I took command of the duel because it was already a pretty simplified game state, and both of us were working with not too much. I Bystialed him enough to where his inboard had, like, no follow-up, and he bluffed me with, like, setting Super Poly instead of Solic, but, like, yeah. Like, the fact that he didn't read it, like, and didn't know it could do that, I don't know if he, like, would have ashed the Dragonmaid, the Chamber necessarily. So I don't know. I just thought it was just insane that, like, I got mileage because, like, I forced out an Ash, made Shao, got my Shao Super Poly, and still got Shao back on the field because of Chamber. So indirectly, she interacted with Super Poly and Ash, and I still won the duel because of the same card that I pretty much 1-for-2'd my opponent, and still came out on top. So I think Dragonmaid cards are just insane, and I love the way they interact with so many decks. And Tiding is just crazy. Tiding is such a crazy card. Like, the fact that Tiding can interact with both the grave and the field and give you follow-up, and it's broken with Bystials. Like, you can seal summon any Bystial. Like, you could seal summon, like, a Magnemute, a Druisworm, anything you want. Balance it with Tiding to clear, especially against Tier. Seal's Tiding is kind of like an FTK almost. Because, like, you can Tiding to disrupt the Tier name, bounce your like, actual Bystial you summon off seal with Tiding, and then Bystial them again with the same Bystial that you bounce off Tiding, and you get follow-up because of Tiding's graveyard effect. It's just so powerful. I love it. And then we have the Rockets. Like, these existing in my deck means that, like, anytime Romulus resolves, I can break any board. It's just crazy. So, like, this deck doesn't really, because of how Boro-In interacts with just, like, almost everything right now, even some of the Towers monsters, like, resolving Romulus or getting access to the Rocket Engine is just something that you're always supposed to cut this deck off. You're supposed to play Keep Away. Like, when you play with any Dragon deck that plays with Rocket cards, you pretty much do not want to allow them to have access to the Rocket Engine because of not just Boro-In, but just because, like, any Link 2 equals a combo because of Pisty and Triple Burst. It's just ridiculous. So, yeah, those are all the starters. Phenomenal cards. Really, really powerful. I freaking love them so much. Style for extenders, we have 3 copies of Quick Launch. This card always gets ashed, and I love it. I freaking love it. We have 3 copies of World Legacy. So, I was pretty iffy. I was iffy because of, like, the Shufflers and Wave Caesar. Those are the 2 reasons. But, like, at the same time, like, my entire deck can be Wave Caesar. So, like, and I have had to actually go -2 against 1 Wave King Caesar just to clear a board of and against Unchained and only in on 2 interruptions, but it was still enough because my follow-up was just better than his, and it just literally became, like, who can outgrind who at that point. But it wasn't enough for me to be scared to play this card. I think this is one of the best cards you can play in any Dragon-based deck. And it actually blows my mind how many people are not on it. Like, literally, actually, nobody's on it. I've never even seen any Dragon Link, Dragonmaid variant. No Dragon deck at all. I don't even care if it's freaking mythical dragons. I don't see anybody playing this card. And what's broken about this card is, like, Imperm on Romulus is such a common point where people Imperm. Like, I can literally... I've been playing this deck for so long. Like, I literally can tell if they have a hand trap, I know when they're going to use it. And if they haven't used it at that point, I just write it off as they don't have it. Like, and I always do a checklist. I play in a kind of like a, because it's like the same way I navigate boards too. I pretty much play, like, in a systematic way where, like, the checklist is, oh, if he's not going to ash this, then he just doesn't have ash. Because, like, literally, if he ashes at any point past this, like, it's just -1. And I do that with every hand trap. Like, it's easy to check for Droll, it's easy to check for Ash. It's really, really easy to check for Imperm with the Dragonmaid cards. Once they see them, you normal any Dragonmaid, they're going to Imperm it. Like, some people are really just, like, intent on holding their Imperm for Romulus, and that's where this card becomes broken. Because, like, even going second, if Romulus gets, like, Impermed or just soft negated and not destroyed, like, you just World Legacy and just, like, literally can full combo through it. Like, a minimum of 2 extra interruptions because they Impermed the Romulus. So, I think this card's broken. It's really, really crazy. It's good for follow-up. Ridiculous card. And now for, like, the superior extenders, because they are very, very good at going second cards, playing into boards, preventing boards proactively, or reactively playing into boards because they're freaking huge, and they're dragons. And they make Heretic, King of Atum, and Romulus. And you can chain block your Romulus with cards like Druid's Worm, Sarnir. Ridiculous. I think all of these cards are crazy. I think the Bystials are really, really, really good this format. I do not actually care at all that I can't banish a Rescue Ace card in the Rescue Ace matchup. I care more that the fact that I could just summon these on my turn and just play through their board. Because, like, their board is really not that crazy to me. Like, especially, like, with that, it's very similar to, like, this deck. You just play Keep Away. Like, you just try and keep them off of Hydrant as much as you can. But in general, Bystials are just insane right now. One of my favorite interactions, and I'm just like, I'm blessed with this deck. Like, I've literally drawn Druid's Worm Baldric multiple times. And you better believe I've actually drawn it against Tier. It's literally an FTK, dude. It's freaking Imperm Multi-Faker. It's insane. Just being able to start your turn with Dragon Bodies means not only did you disrupt your opponent, but, like, you're playing through hand traps with ease, and you're actually cutting the workload in half already for yourself. So these cards are crazy, and I love a healthy amount of Bystials, because I have done this so often, putting up Heretic King of Atum under my Seal to try and combo and see if I can force out Nib and play after it. So setting up Atum makes these cards superior extenders, even comparatively to, like, World Legacy and Quick Launch, because, like, any 2 Bystials equals a line that accesses any card in your deck, so it's ridiculous. Super, super broke, super crazy. Love these. Best extenders in the deck. Magnamut is literally one of the best cards ever printed. I love this card. It's crazy. It's crazy. One of my funniest Magnamut stories was against Mananium. I Magnamuted for Chaos Dragon Legionnaire because I felt like I had to play Crackback. I felt like all my follow-up was just going to be used to break his board, and I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to have follow-up, so I'm just going to try and kill him right now. And I Magnamuted for Levy. I went Levy for Red MD. I Red MD for Rocket Recharger, I think. Rechargered for Trace, rechargered for, went into Striker, pop, did Recharge's effect, did Striker's effect, target Recharger, brought back my Rocket, I think I brought back Rocket Tracer, and I just did it trying to just like see if I could force an interaction. He still didn't interact, and I know I ended up going into Quad Boral, and I know I access coded him. Quad World, and it was just crazy because, like, I ended up making Quad Boral and Boral in the same turn. It was just crazy. I gotta sit here and think really. I don't want to waste too much time in the video. Like, yeah, it was one of the best levies ever. I banished Lubellion. I banished Lubellion Seals, and just, like, literally brought back Red MD. And I already had follow up regardless, but, like, I just wanted to play purely off the Legionnaire and see how far it could get me and see if I could force an interrupt, and he let me go really, really far. And, like, yeah, it was ridiculous. One Nocto, I like playing this at 3, I really do, but, like, space is an issue. And, like, it is an extender, but you have a healthy amount of extenders, so, like, redundancy is a problem. Where, like, you can draw all gas, but, like, you still want a mixture and diverse cards. Like, you do want hard actual going second cards. This card's just broken. It plays through so much. Red MD, this card's crazy. In this deck, you can go infinite. You have Striker, you have Recharger, you have not just Recharger, you also have, like, Regained. Yeah, it's ridiculous. The amount of times that you can, like, bring back Red MD, like, you can use this card, like, forever. Like, you can banish it, bring it off of Dispatter, like, you can get it back off of Pisty, you can get it off of Heretic King of Atum, like, you can bring it back off of the Recharger's effect, you can put it back off Regain and search it just by literally linking off another Black Metal. Card's just crazy. Little Dragons, these cards are good. Very, very good cards. Any hand with these can play through so much. I had a hand with these playing against Unchained, and I know I started my line really strong. I went into Dark to try and target his Yama because my idea was, like, hard to make access code because I was like, every card in my hand can break his board. I just want to force the most interruptions I can from the hand and his field before I even go for it. And like I levied to rip one, and the moment that he let that resolve, I was like, he doesn't have Imperm, he doesn't have Valor, because like there's a chance that he wants to keep the hand trap. And I levied for 3 darks because I went dark, targeted his Yama, he negated it with Wave King Caesar. My dark's effect searched for Levianeer, and then I banished 3, including the dark for Levy, ripped 1, and then I broke through all these interruptions. I ended up going into a disc powder line that brought back the same dark that I banished off the Levy that searched. Dark search Levy, Levy banished dark, and then I brought back dark off of the disc powder, and I went into access code, cleared everything. It was just crazy. It was so good. Like I literally like it was so perfect. It was like literally like the most excellent, and it was the most excellent way to ever like play through that Jin board. All the stars aligned. Everything went exactly my way. It was crazy. I played through everything with no hand traps, no non-engine. Like it's crazy. Speaking of, Levy's broken. Levy is so good. Levy for life. 1 hospitality. I was on welcome to like go infinite on the Dragonmaid cards, but it hasn't came up enough, so I just took it out. When it comes up often, I put it back in. And then the nerf, she's like a really, really good extender for your main engine. And then we have Apsa Router. Now for the going second / non-engine cards, or engine requirements rather. I don't care what anybody says, this is one of the best going second cards for a dragon deck. It not only fuels your grave, like with dragon names, but like with the actual Dragonmaid deck, this is an infinitely recurable spell speed 1. Pseudo Imperm, I want to compare it more to like something else like Rika Sheet, how like the monster's unable to activate its effects or something. It's just not the same as negating. It just prevents the monster from activating its effects, which is actually sometimes better because your opponent can't pay cost. But like you can actually set this up on your opponent's turns. Like that's the other thing that I know it sounds like I'm like beating a dead horse or talking in circles. Like this deck's like boards are crazy because like as your opponent tries to break through it, you literally search cards that break their board while they're trying to break your board. Like I can literally get this in my opponent's battle phase and get it to my hand, and like I can start my turn off really strong with like a fresh Striker Dragon in my extra deck, a loaded grave, tidy in grave, hospitality in hand, like Parlor. Just with the Dragonmaid engine alone, I can set up Shao 2-3 times, meaning like I can set it up, they try and pop it or interact with it. I don't use this effect. I let it die, bring it back. Try again, I let it die, bring it back, and then actually use the Shell to negate, get out house, start bouncing my dragons and popping their field, and like you just literally like start your turn with like Lurper, target the Wave King Caesar. Can't activate his effect. Broken. Such a good card, and it's infinitely recurable. Like it's a free resource, it's a free negation, you get it back to your hand every single turn. Your battle phases, you go so plus. This deck literally, like almost everything it does is a +2, and 1-for-1s are meaningless economically, like when you go +2. Like, it's crazy. Droplets, Brogan, love the card. I only own 1 Thrust, so I only play 1. I play 3 Talents. I really, really would love to play 3 Thrusts, and I already know what I'll take out. Because, like, what I do a lot going second with this deck is, like, I thrust for engine, bro. I do not thrust for talents. I don't thrust for, like, I don't even like playing a lot of thrust targets because, like, specifically, this deck has so many outs, like the Pearly board. It's really good against Unchained. It's crazy against Rescue Ace. I think against Rika, if like they actually end on Nature or Rose Whip, it's such a hard time, but because they don't, like you just break their board. Like thrusting for like Chaos Space and 1-for-1 are like one of my favorite ways, like to literally like play into boards. Or I go for changeover, set up Shao, and it's like even better than Talents because like I have a card like if I set up Shao, it's like an uphill battle for my opponent. Like I have a negate that continues to give me cards back, but negates take cards from your opponent. It's crazy. And then engine requirements, we have the 2 Filts. We have Regain, Broken. Regain and Dragonmaid Welcome is one of my favorite loops. So like there is a broken like Trinity loop with Dragonmaid Downtime, branded Regain, and then Dragonmaid Welcome, where like every turn on your opponent's turn and your turn, like you just get like literally like +3 for no reason. But it is greedy and it's not necessary, and it's like you already can win without it, so you really don't. It's literally like you don't really need to put any of those cards in. We're not looking for a grindy like duel. We're not looking for a grindy match in general. The matchups that become a grind only get to turn 5 max most of the time. So I feel like Regain's enough, but I do opt for Beast a lot, especially if I get hand trapped, because like Beast is a guaranteed interruption for me, and it gives me a lot more like of a safety net when I'm blind in a matchup, because it is literally a free pop, and I know I'm searching Jerusalem. And I'd rather have put up Regained on the crackback a lot of times than put up Beast. And I just love playing Beast in general because like this also gives me a better and more resilient matchup against other dragon decks, especially when they put a Boral in. So like I have Seal and Beast to be able to out their Boral in, which helps out a lot. And then Changeover, Double Tiding. These are all of like the engine requirements. These are incredible to draw. They're broken as extenders. This is incredible to draw. These are 3 cards you don't really want to draw. Specifically, this is okay. These, I think, are unacceptable to draw because like you want to search them anyway. So they're useful cards. You're going to be able to play with them, but it's like almost like you're playing with 4 cards instead of 5 now. Extra deck, we play Striker, Pissy. Stills is broken. Stills is broken. It's very, very good. We have Romulus, the card that always gets imperm. Shout out to Romulus. Quadboral, the card that doesn't have to get imperm because Romulus takes it for him. So, like, thank you, homie. Thank you for taking the L for me. Quadboral is a new integration. I think it has made the biggest deal for me to be able to play Quadboral. It plays through so much more, and playing into boards is pretty gross. Like, it's a really, really niche interaction, but you can kill your opponent's links and potentially get a freaking soul charge. So, I think the card's good. It also matters because, like, I have actually gone on Crackback, Red MD, summoning Pissy specifically here in this zone, and already have gone through the triple burst in that line, and I can still set up Quadboral and Pissy back something crazy, like one of my freaking banished Magnamoots or Drewsworm, and then just continue playing Quadboral at the end, because like I don't always really make Savage. A lot of the times I don't. I typically go for Baron or Dragonmaid Shao, and I use Savage as like a crackback. Because like the hard negations matter more, and Dragonmaid Shao and Baron are always easier to set up in the middle, in the like the beginning of my combo. And like sometimes I have to choose Savage or something else, and like when I already have a negation, I want like a more diverse interruption, so I choose like a spot removal instead. But Boral Savage comes out a lot too. So we have Dark. Shoutouts to Dark. Like shoutouts to the homies that actually Wave King Caesar this card. It's crazy. Like, if you have Rage, just use Rage. But if you don't, it sucks to suck because like now I'm taking Yama and I'm gonna access code you full. So I don't know. Pick your poison. Give me Levy or just lose anyways. Triple Burst, access code, broken card. Shout outs to Boral End. Card is literally, might as well just say this is Towers. This card's crazy. This is the reason why, like, no matter what, going second, you pretty much are guaranteed to break the board. Like, a lot of people kind of concede the fact that their board is going to get broken when they play against me or against any Dragon deck, including Dragon Link. And that's why, like, this format, I think it's always imperative to just, like, give yourself follow-up. Like, you kind of concede to the fact that, like, the theory, like, the illusion that the board's unbreakable, especially with, like, a deck like this. Like, you know when this card's in your extra deck, you just feel so confident that you can break any board as long as your hand has enough gas in it, regardless of what they have. And especially when they have negations and not spot removals, like, it's so much easier. So those are all the links for the synchros. We have Dispetter, Baron. Shout outs to, like, literally the card that I probably summoned the most out of all 3 of these. Actually, I think as far as non-link monsters, I think I summoned Dispetter more than anything in my extra deck. The card's just really, really broken. I have opted to play one of each fusion now. Because I started like prioritizing like literally actually putting back House Dragonmaid instead of putting back sometimes the Pissy, because like I always put back the Striker and then I'll put back the Pissy being greedy, just like I can have another Pissy line turn 3, because it does play through a lot like with your crackback. But like putting back House so that Shao can negate and put more pressure is almost arguably just as good, because you just want to kill your opponent anyway. So either way, no matter how you do it, as long as you do it. God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you guys want to see combo tutorials and more duels, I got you. This is literally like my baby. I love this deck. I know it like the back of my hand, and I play it literally like I can play this deck on autopilot. Like literally I know every combo. So yeah, peace y'all.